Liberty. Another payday liberty. First time after a long cruise. Many of our men are ashore tonight. All good men. I ought to know. I've seen them in action. There's Drake, third class. Pretty good man. And Mercer, been in the Navy about 8 or 9 years. Knows his way around. Swanson, well, he's the easygoing type. Solid as a rock of Gibraltar and just as dependable. And on every liberty, there are a couple of men like Adams and Kennedy who don't know what to do with themselves. Kennedy now, he's a bit green. And Adams, well, when they separate the men from the boys, he'll probably be with the boys. This isn't what you'd call a rough port. But medical officers can expect casualties from every Liberty party. Cut heads, that can bottle stuff, and VD. I wonder who'll get into trouble tonight. Not Drake, I'll bet. He should have learned to use his head by now. But it wasn't so very long ago. We just dropped the hook in our home port. Sure enough, Drake, like everybody else, wanted to get ashore fast. So when the chief told him tough stuff, he had to stay aboard, he got in to see me. Took a bit of convincing that the Navy never gambles when it comes to controlling the spread of disease. Gonorrhea is infectious. Drake thought he'd been cured by that first shot we'd given him a few days before. I explained one single shot didn't mean we were 100% sure he was cured. Even with our new medicines, we can't be absolutely certain. That's why keeping him aboard was protection for others. I guess when he first came in to see us, Drake was chipping his teeth. He'd noticed the typical drip from his penis, but he couldn't believe he'd actually caught the clap. Said that he'd wash well with soap and water as soon as he could. Well, washing does help, but at best it gets off only the germs on the outside. But what about the gonorrhea germs that got inside? Soap and water doesn't stop those fellas. Gonorrhea germs are tricky. Short time after they entered Drake's penis, perhaps in a matter of minutes, that little chance Drake thought he took became a big chance. Because they multiplied, really multiplied, until there were thousands of them. Same kind of a thing happens in a woman, but she may not know it. Drake said he urinated right afterward. Well, that probably washed out some of the germs, but certainly not all of them. Any more than a dozen douches a day would wash the gonorrhea germs out of a woman's body. Those that were left kept on multiplying in the lining of the urine canal, buried there in the soft lining, where urine couldn't wash them out, or prophylactic chemicals couldn't get at them. Germs buried in the lining irritated it and formed sores, and it's those sores that cause the pus discharge or drip, which is usually the first sign. It was a good thing Drake was smart enough to come into sick bay as soon as he noticed that drip. By reporting early, he'd avoided complications. And lucky for him, we were able to cure him. Drake might have prevented the germs from getting inside his body by using a shield. The doctor protects himself from germs when he examines a sore. Of course, the only sure protection against VD is to avoid exposure. Well, I think maybe Drake has learned about taking chances. Not that Adams, though. He still has a lot to learn. He hasn't been burned yet. He's probably got dolls on his mind tonight, and he's the type that's liable to take almost any kind of a chance. Mercer was a gambler, too, once. Only Mercer found out he'd picked up something far more serious than gonorrhea. Must have been all of 6 months ago. That second examination showed just what I suspected. Mercer had really lost the gamble. It was syphilis. And he didn't even have sense enough to blame himself. It was the same old story. She looked clean. But Mercer forgot that no one can see the germs and sores inside the woman's body. We had positive proof that those germs by then were inside Mercer. Syphilis germs from that sore on Mercer's penis. As in gonorrhea, it may take only a few minutes for syphilis germs to penetrate during sexual intercourse. A few minutes. But by the time Mercer noticed that little sore on his penis, there were millions of syphilis germs all through his body. And with syphilis, the big question always is, what damage are they going to do? If they lodge in the spine, they can cripple for life. When the germs strike the eyes, blindness. When they settle in the brain, insanity. And when they attack the heart, death. Naturally, Mercer was plenty worried. But we told him none of those things need happen to him. He'd reported promptly after noticing his sore. At least he'd used his head that time. So with prompt reporting, modern treatment, and proper follow-up, we have a very good chance of curing him. Continued periodic tests will show us for sure if Mercer's okay. But he certainly found out that his health isn't something to gamble with. Anyhow, they know the facts now. It's up to them. Wish they were all like Swanson. He didn't need to get burned to learn. Just good common sense. But Adams, well, I'm not so sure about him. Or Kennedy either. After all, it's their liberty. It's up to them what they do with it. A lot depends on the type of people they meet. A man with dolls on his mind can always find somebody to help him make up his mind. Make a choice between sticking with his own buddies or taking a chance. I wonder if Adams and Kennedy are smart enough to know the score. Well, the odds are 1 out of every 3 pickups, 4 out of every 5 prostitutes have it at one time or another. Heads, you win. Tails, you lose.